Good morning, everyone. My name is Jim Codney, National Sales Director here with Western Marketing. Thank you very much for joining us today. We've got a couple special guests that will be joining us, Laura Galloway and Carrie Oda from White Glove. I'm going to go ahead and just pause, give people a minute or two to hop on. For those of you who are either new to GoToWebinar or haven't been on in a while, you know, sometimes it takes a minute or two to get on, but we will respect your time. We're going to get going in just a moment. So I'm going to put myself on mute and we'll get ready to go. Thank you. All right, everybody. Hopefully that's been enough time for most of us to hop on. I see a few people have just got in, so glad you were able to join us again. My name is Jim Codney. I'm National Sales Director here at Western Marketing. Thank you very much for joining us today. We've got a couple special guests. We've got Laura Galloway. She's Senior Vice President of Channel Marketing at White Glove, and Carrie Oda, who's also at White Glove. So we're going to do something different today. Our goal at Western Marketing is to get past product and, you know, get a little deeper. And so Laura's going to really present on the importance of emotional connections in financial workshops. So as we're going through a little bit of housekeeping, this presentation's for you. You're not out doing appointments, you know, making money, putting food on your table, or paying your bills. So we want this to be valuable for you. If you have a question or a comment, please type it in the chat box or the question box. Carrie and I will monitor that throughout the presentation. If it makes sense to where we're at and what Laura is talking about, we will go ahead and, you know, interject that there. If not, we may wait until the end of the presentation to talk about those questions or comments. So don't feel we're ignoring you. You know, we're really appreciative that you're here. As most of you know, here at Western Marketing, we realize the importance of our agents. You're really who keeps us going, so we appreciate that. We hope to really get you beneficial content with this presentation. So with that, I'd like to introduce Laura Galloway, again, Senior Vice President of Channel Management at White Glove. Laura, good morning.
Hey, thank you, Jim, and thanks everybody for being here, and thank you, Carrie, for being here with us too. So I'm excited to talk to you today, and before we get into it, I just want to ask a quick question, and bear with me because it may sound a little strange for me to start off by asking you this question, but I promise I'm going to make it relevant. So anybody listening, do you ever get really bad headaches? Do you get migraines? And I find this is pretty common. I get them myself. My mom actually was suffering with them really badly to the point where it was making her not be able to work, not be able to drive. She finally decided she was going to go see a neurologist and get some help about it. And she went in for the appointment and, you know, he started asking her all these questions about her family history and her medical history and a lot of things that she wasn't that comfortable with or didn't remember. And then he started just recommending for her. He's like, okay, we'll do, you know, some various things that we need to do to process your records, but really I'm going to recommend this medication. And this medication is the key. I'm the industry expert. I'm the top rated guy in Georgia. I know all about this. This is my life's work. And I can tell you this medication gets our patients relief. And she was like, okay, well, you know, she was a little concerned because as a woman of a certain age, she's already taken a lot of medication. And she's learned by talking with some of her other trusted doctors in her life that medications can have interactions and she's got to be careful. So she started asking this neurologist, she said, you know, I'm just a little concerned about jumping straight into this medication because while yes, I'm suffering with these migraines, I just am not sure that it's the right thing to do to take this medication that you're recommending. And the guy was like, well, yeah, of course you should take it because I'm telling you you should take it. I mean, look at the accolades on my wall, look at these diplomas, look at this research. I mean, you came to me because I am the person who knows these things, and I'm telling you, you should take this medication. And she just felt a little odd because he didn't actually ask her a lot of questions about what she wanted, what kind of results, what kind of life did she want to have? Why was, did she want less migraines? Did she want them to go away altogether? There may be some different courses of action, and she was kind of surprised that he didn't offer her any of those and didn't bother to ask what her definition of success for eradicating her problem, as she sees it, were. And that left her feeling a little like uncomfortable. She didn't trust him. She walked out of there with the same pain, but with feeling confused and annoyed and confronted and worried. And that ultimately did not lead to her deciding she wanted to work with him. In fact, she never went to see him again and didn't return any calls, and went on and found a different neurologist to work with who gave her some success. All right. So why am I sharing this story? Well, I know that we're here today. You've heard from Jim. We're talking about this, power of emotional connection. And that's what we want to bring front and center for you as an advisor in your practice. You are dealing with people every day who are making financial decisions that are based more on emotion than on logic. Daniel Kahneman, he's a great researcher in the space, and I'm sure a lot of you have read some of his stuff or seen his talks, heard him speak. This is such an important thing for us to consider as advisors when people come to us for expertise. Now, the reason I gave you the story about the migraine is because I want you to relate. I want you to stop being an agent for a minute. And I want you to think about an experience where you've gone in, and maybe it's been to a doctor, right? And had a similar experience to the one my mom had, where there's somebody who's clearly an expert who can absolutely solve her problems, but she didn't feel like he actually cared about her definition of success, her goals, her fears, her issues, her challenges. He just knew the answers, right? And you know the answers. It's your job to study all of the industry and to study all of the products and to study your competitors and to know without fail what the best options are for your clients. But if that's how you lead in, you might just wind up not getting that client or losing a client if you do not value the emotional connection and take time to build that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I just wanted to get you starting off thinking about that, getting that mindset where you might have experienced something similar to what my mom experienced and similar to what your prospects and your clients may experience when they're meeting with you. So Jim did give me a little bit of an introduction. This is a picture of my family. As you can see, I'm standing outside in the snow trying to get a family photo because the son on the right is off at school in Montana and it was freezing and we only had like 10 minutes of scheduled time where all the family's going to be together to get a quick photo. So living in Michigan, wife, mom of 3, got a hunting dog named Tuck. I'm a displaced Southerner, currently freezing here and really, really excited about moving back south. I've been with White Glove about 5 years. I've done a lot of different things in marketing, sales, product, but I've really spent a lot of time watching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of webinars that our clients have done where they are presenting themselves in a workshop on like taxes and retirement or estate planning or social security or college planning and trying to get new clients through our programs. I've watched these. It's been my job to critique these, to develop best practices, to develop webinar scorecards, to help these guys learn what they're doing well and what they can do better. And that experience, plus my experience as a business owner, I ran a coaching and consulting firm. I taught people how to build powerful communications, powerful connections. All of that comes to bear to why we're talking today, because we at White Glove know that getting you in front of an audience who's seeking your expertise is one of the best ways to establish that power of emotional connection. But rather than just taking my word for it, I want to walk you through today how you can do that yourself. I want to leave you with a few tips that will help get you on your way so that you get to take not just the expertise you have, but you're actually given the opportunity to connect with someone on that emotional level. And that emotional level, as I say here, expertise is a given, when you are standing in front of an audience in a seminar or a virtual audience on a webinar or meeting with a person in your office, they expect you to be an expert. You don't have to spend all your time proving that. What you should initially be spending your time on is building that personal connection. And we have so many coaches, so many clients, so many years of experience watching the people who do it well. And that's what we want to bring to bear today and teach you in this seminar. So just a quick agenda. We're going to go for about 30 minutes here, give or take. As Jim mentioned, you're welcome to throw in some questions in the comments and chats, whatever. If you want to put those in, we'll do our best to address those for you today. But I want you to come away from this understanding a few things like what the attendee at your workshop or in your one-on-one meeting at your office is really looking for and how you can meet those expectations. I want to help you learn the right way to demonstrate your expertise, because it is important that people know that you're not just a hack, that you do demonstrate how you got where you are and why you know what you know. But there's a knack and there's a particular way to do it that I want to demonstrate today so that it feels authentic, so that it feels relevant, and so that you don't bore people and turn them off. So I'm going to teach you a lot about the power of emotional connection, and I'm going to leave you with 3 really strong tips for making sure that you can apply these emotional connections in your next workshop or meeting. I want to help you focus today on the human side of money. And I want to teach you finally with how White Glove can help you do exactly that with our program. So real quick question for everybody. What is it that attendees want or expect when they come to a seminar? Think about it. If you've been hosting workshops yourself with us or with another person, or you're doing it on your own, what is it that the attendees are thinking of? And guys, just by stopping to ask this question, this is helping you get in a mindset that is going to help you develop more of an emotional connection. If you've never once considered what your audience actually wants when they're showing up to listen to you, you might be surprised, okay? You might be turning them off if you actually haven't thought of this question, because this is important for you to have that empathy of why people are there. So I don't know if we're getting any responses, but I would just love for you to think about that. What do they actually want when they come to a financial seminar? All right. This is a lot of what I have seen, guys. When I've been doing these VIP coaching sessions with our advisors, when I'm looking at these webinars, I see charts and graphs. Their whole presentation is like an eye chart. I kid you not, okay? And if you think about it, how long do you like to stare at an eye chart? And what does it feel like when someone's barraging you like a fire hose of information? It's overwhelming. It is overwhelming. Your attendee, if they're showing up to your workshop, I can assure you this on screen is not what they're looking for, okay? They have a lot of questions, but it's not about, where's the industry going and how do the products that you share with us and sell, how do those, work according and compare to the market? I mean, what sort of returns are you getting? And, that's not the number one thing they're showing up, but this is often what I find our advisors and our agents believe people want to know. And when I tell them, your presentation looks like an eye chart. People are, we've got webinar engagement tools. People are bouncing off. They're looking at their screen or they're dropping from your webinar, which is awful because you've lost them in the first few minutes. When you confuse, you lose, okay? I know presenting sometimes drives up a lot of anxiety for our agents and our advisors. And guys, no doubt. I mean, the number one human fear is public speaking. So even if you enjoy doing these things, it's still a little bit terrifying and sometimes really confronting when you get up in front of an audience. So you go into this fight or flight mode, and what you want to do is demonstrate expertise. Here's my charts, here's my stuff. I know all the stuff. I'm an expert. I can read the stuff. This is really powerful stuff. Stuff. Data, charts, facts. But what's happening to your attendee, again, if you haven't thought about what is it that they want when they show up to your workshop or to that appointment in your office, what they don't want is confusion. You're the expert. You need to take away confusion, okay? They don't want that. That's not what they're looking for. They're also not looking for this. I am a celebrity. I'm on TV every Saturday. I've got a podcast. I'm featured in the newspaper. I've won these awards. Oh, here's the best one. I'm a top producer. I brought in more money than anybody else in my firm. Guys, that is fantastic. Please go out to the bar with your buddy and do this bragging with them, because it is not the kind of bragging you want to do to your audience that is sitting there trying to understand their taxes and retirement. They're trying to understand, how do I minimize that? Trying to understand, am I going to be able to retire when I want to? Am I going to be able to pass the things I have down to the people I love with minimal financial impact, like trouble, and maximum financial gain? This isn't it, okay? So I just want to share you, I'm sharing a few of the things that we see again and again at White Glove that our advisors do by default. They start off their workshop saying, I'm the best. Here's what I do. Here's my office. We've been in business 30 years. We do this, we do this, we do IULs, we do whatever, right? Like, they go through all this stuff that is all about them. But guess what? This is not your story. When you are presenting, when you are meeting with those humans who are showing up to your workshops or to your office for a meeting, you need to remember that it's their story that's important. You need to spend your time asking personal questions, asking them those things the doctor did not ask my mother. What would be success for you? What would success look like? What would make you happy? What will help you sleep at night, right? Asking those questions rather than like, and I'm not saying you never ask it. I'm saying at the beginning, when we're trying to establish that emotional connection. And when you're at a workshop, you've got that at bat. You are trying to basically audition for your job, right? You're trying to show them, give them an experience of what it would be like to work with you. Why are you the expert that can help them? There are lots of experts out there, you know that. Why are you the one? And the reason they would feel that, the reason they come away, is because they would start relating to you. A workshop is a wonderful way to start building that rapport, building that emotional connection, and building that like, know, and trust factor, right, that we all hear about. If you're asking them to tell more about them and what their definition of success is and what a great retirement looks like, or what the financial stability or security looks like for them, whatever it is, then you are making the focus be on them. And when they're talking more, right, 2 ears, 1 mouth, when they're talking more and you're listening more, then you are building that emotional connection right off the bat. So that's powerful. I love saying this. Is another coach taught me this, and he says, what is everyone's favorite radio station? And this will help you remember why you should make the story about them. It's because it's WIIFM. What's in it for me? The whole time you're doing your presentation, whether it's a seminar, a webinar, or a meeting in person, you need to have this question going on in your head. What's in it for me, for that attendee, for that prospect, or that client? Why should they listen to you? What are they going to feel when they walk away from that workshop or that meeting with you? What are they going to get? What are they going to know, right? You want to think about what's in it for them and not for you. You're not just thinking, I'm going to get a new prospect, I'm going to get new clients. So guys, I am just sharing these stats here because I want you to know that you're listening to the voice of experience. At White Glove, we were founded in 2015 by advisors who built their whole book of business doing workshops like this. And we've been doing so many since then. We've got years and years and years of data. We've got hundreds of hours of videos of recorded webinars. We get all these 5-star reviews. We're doing something right. And that's what I say, like, we study this stuff, we create best practices, and we even bring on coaches and do a lot of training to help our people, our advisors who are doing these presentations. We help them do it better. And we're working with some of the industry experts out there that many of these names may be common and well known to you. Some of them may be lesser known, but we're using experts in the industry who are doing exactly what we're teaching our advisors to do and really seeing an amazing ROI from it. So again, as I've said, when we're trying to go show up to a workshop, if we're thinking about, oh, I hope I get new prospects, I hope I get new clients, of course you are. If you're thinking, oh, I've got to get through my slides and I got to make sure that I say these numbers right because they just changed last year and I'm a little nervous about that and I want to make sure I don't screw that up. Of course you're having those thoughts. but you want to build that emotional connection. And how can you do that? One of the ways is by actually thinking about who are these people who need you. And I want to just like throw a few things up on screen to help you remember who's sitting in front of you. Okay, it could be that small business owner, right, who want to put his succession plan in place, but holy crap, the COVID curveball kicked in and now he has no idea what to do. That's the person that could be sitting in front of you. What about the tech startup founder that wants to do that digital nomad? I just read another article about like Colombia giving out these digital nomad visas. People are moving all over the place. How does that affect their finances? How does that affect their policies? You are positioned very uniquely to address that for them. But thinking about these people, not just as attendees in a workshop like a seminar or a webinar, not just somebody who shows up in your office that looks like a prospect. Of course they are. But remember who that person is, because you need to build that emotional connection. If you're thinking about, oh, this could be a tech startup founder, and you actually incorporate some of these ideas of the people that you work with into your workshops, that's going to build that connection, because maybe somebody listening is the same thing. Maybe you've got a 40-something woman and she just got that $68 trillion great wealth transfer we've been talking about from the boomers to the next gen investors, right? And she has no idea. Like, she's never had this much money, and now she's got all of it. She wants to figure out how to get rid of it, right? She wants to give it out to some charitable giving that matters very much to her. Are you talking to people about the causes that they care about? Are you talking to them about the legacy they want to live, and maybe how the life they have is different, right? We hear so much about these millennials. They don't want to take over the family business, right? The parents have done blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice to build this business they can pass on to their kids. Kids don't want it. How can you help them mitigate that? These are human experiences that you want to focus on. Real people. How about all the folks that were just laid off in the tech world, right? These guys are having a major emotional, like, these are major emotional moments. These are families that are trying to make sure that their families are okay and have the choices they want. Life experience, as we said, 90% of the financial decisions people make are being driven by emotions, not by logic. Think about these events, and when you're talking to people, when you're in a webinar or a seminar, you want to make reference. You want to say, you know, maybe you have just gone through a marriage, a birth, a job change with the layoffs going on right now. Maybe there's, a divorce has just occurred, or maybe you're looking forward to a big life event. Maybe you know that you're going to be buying or selling a business. A girlfriend of mine is an insurance agent who's just purchased her 5th agency in 5 years. This woman is blowing my mind. I don't know where she gets her time, because it's not the same 24 hours I have, I can assure you. But I'm watching what she's doing, and she's scaling that major life events, huge impact on their finances. I know you guys know all of this. I'm trying to just make sure, though, when we're talking about an emotional connection, if you can remember to connect with the person, and you can remember to connect with the life events that are causing these huge emotions, then that's going to help you present and talk and be relatable. And you can share stories when you're talking about these big events. If you're asking people, anybody got a major life event that's coming up on the horizon? And people raise their hand. Well, yeah, I'm going to be, selling my business. I'm getting ready to get out of it. And okay, I understand. Anybody else? Yeah, I'm getting divorced. Wow. Okay, I understand. That is a big life-changing event. Major changes. And then you can share a story. I'm working with a client right now who just, had his whole succession plan blown up by COVID. He was going to be out 3 years ago, had to stay in, and now that timeline is pushed out another 3 years. There are things that we can address financially for you to make sure that you're okay, just like my client who's going through that, right? So what you do is you ask questions, you engage your audience about these life events. This is what's happening for them. They want you to understand them. And that emotional connection, when they know that you get them and you're talking about things that are like, oh yeah, me too. Like, oh yeah, we just had a death in the family. It was, my grandma, and what happened after that? Well, this happened. And that's what I'm going through right now. When you do that, you've built that emotional bridge, you've built that rapport, you've started it just in such an impactful way, but in such an easy way by talking about these major life events rather than all about the product, the graphs, the charts, the market returns, the industry trends, the competitors that you have. You're taking it to an emotional level. You're going to make that connection just by mentioning these things and by asking these questions. So I've kind of already tipped my hand here, but I would love for you guys to throw in the chat some ideas that you have about this. What are some strategies that you can use to build that emotional connection with your audience or with your prospect or with your existing client? Maybe your existing client is coming in for a family meeting. Maybe you're finally getting to meet that spouse or that partner or some of the children that are going to be the heirs. What are some ways you can build that emotional connection? So I see some people throwing stuff in there, and Jim, you'll jump in if I need to pause, but otherwise I'm going to keep going and we're going to just acknowledge some of that at the end, okay? I'm going to give you tip number one. The first thing is you start engaging immediately. The first 5 minutes in a webinar, a seminar, or a meeting are critical, okay? You don't want to waste your time talking about housekeeping. Jim did a great job by kicking this off and getting us started right on time. That shows he respects you, right? That shows that he understands that you're professionals and you're busy. That's important. That's an emotional connection right there, because if you're somebody who doesn't do that right, if you make people wait 5 or 10 minutes, that's really going to tick them off. That's not going to build a good part. It's going to build an emotional connection, but not a good one, okay? Not one that you want. You also noticed when I started, when Jim introduced me, I didn't start by talking about how to use the chat, who I am and what I've done and all my accolades and my background. I didn't do that first. What did I do first? I asked a question, okay? I asked a question before I even said anything about who I am, because let's be honest, you don't really care about me yet, okay? You care about why we're here today, or you care about this topic. You wanted to learn something. So I wanted to begin engaging with you immediately, and I asked a question to get you started. Secondly, I followed that up by a relevant personal story, something that I think most of us could relate to, where we've had a doctor that maybe didn't quite listen, didn't quite get us in and out their billed by the minute, right? And you're kind of left going like, does this person know me and do they have my best interest, right? So I tried to get something that was relevant. And even though you're sitting here going, why are we talking about migraines? That's engaged. If you're having that question, chances are you're kind of waiting. Okay, Laura, connect the dots. Why are we talking about migraines? You get engaged with people right up front. So I want to share with you that when you are doing your presentations, you want to go ahead and start asking questions right off the bat. The more questions you ask, the more opportunity people have to respond and give you, when they respond, they give you a lot more about them to work with and start building those personal relevant connections, whether it's a life event or whether it's a client you've worked with that's in the same stage going through the same thing. It's so important. You know, skip the hi, my name is, that's never powerful. It's kind of boring. People expect it and they don't care. And keep your bio short. Yes, you do need to know why you should listen to me. If you would notice, I actually wove that in a little bit over time. I've told you a little bit about some of the stuff that I did in my business that give me a reason that I talk about personal connection, because it's something I do for a living, right? But I kept it short, and I also included a personal photo because maybe you live in a wintry place too. Not Jim down in Arizona sweating it out at 95 degrees, right? So, but he's thinking about that when he's looking at the snow in the picture. Maybe I mentioned my dog Tuck. He's a hunting dog. Maybe you hunt, maybe you don't. Whatever it is, there may be a reason that you're going to start building an emotional connection just from a picture I shared and a little bit about my background. So I tried to model that for you today, and that's a way for you to get started with your presentations. So tip number two, tip number one is all about what to do right from the very beginning. Tip number two, you got to keep it going during the workshop. As I mentioned, sharing some stories of how you solve similar problems, asking your attendees what sort of life events are happening, letting them tell you their personal stories too. Guys, I also incorporated something I call trust signals. Trust signals are the stats, the graphs, the data, the proof. Social proof is very powerful. I'm trying to teach you that you can trust me, right? So how did I do that? I shared some data. White Glove has done over 35,000 webinars and seminars. White Glove has over 2,000 5-star, right? So those little things that I gave you, I wove in. I didn't start with that. And again, this is my point. Most advisors that are doing presentations, most agents doing presentations with us start with, I'm Laura Galloway. I've been in the business this many years. I've achieved this, I've achieved that. That's not what people want. They're not ready. That doesn't imbue trust. Okay, that's kind of stuff that bores people. They came to learn, and then you build your presentation that allows you to incorporate some of those trust signals. Like, we work with industry experts. We've been around since 2015. We're founded by advisors. I've woven all of that into my talk rather than starting with it. And as I mentioned, demonstrating that empathy, talking about when you ask your clients and your attendees, what are they going through? And they say, I've been through this, this, and this. You're building that empathy by being relevant and saying, yep, we've been through that too. The last tip, guys, and this is where we see at White Glove, most people fall short, is in the follow-up. After your event, you've spent all this time, you've built this emotional connection, you've paid money for an event, you've shown up, you've prepped. And then afterwards, you don't follow up. That's crazy. You have to follow up. You have to do the phone calls, the texts immediately after the event to get those people, including the no-shows, by the way. And at White Glove, we give you not just the attendees information, we also give you the no-show information for free. You can ask Carrie more about that. But take that list, call all those people immediately, and make sure that you're continuing that connection. And then drip campaigns, monthly emails, newsletters, social posts. We at White Glove call this nurture and engage. We have programs that do this for you, where we're sending out a monthly email, we're sending out text, we're sending out drip campaigns to help people convert. They have a strong call to action, making sure that people know how to book on your calendar. So the follow-up is so important. The value-added content with some, hey, here's a great story on, how people are doing the digital nomad experience, and, the government of such and such has just made this easier. Sharing that with people because you know that you have some folks that are interested in that kind of content is super valuable. So I do want to just drill down on this for a minute because this is so huge. When I say follow up, follow up, follow up, the emotional connection disappears when you disappear. If you don't stay top of mind, then they're not going to remember you. And they may even go with someone else who captures their attention and has better products or even lesser, not great products, but they're not in front of them. So you have to stay in front of them. And we know it's hard, okay? It's hard to do it mentally, but it's also hard to do it time-wise, okay? Because this kind of follow-up, being really good at it, does require some marketing automation. And what we are seeing, again, with all of the data, all the years of experience that we have, we have just built a fully optimized machine around workshop programs and the nurturing and engaging afterwards. We're seeing these incredible stats, okay? Like if somebody is nurtured, you're getting an increase from a lead to a prospect of 451%. Holy cow, it's a lead. You've got leads in your database right now. If you nurture them, you're gonna get a 451% increase. Wow, that's insane. We're seeing the people that are nurtured are getting 47% larger purchases. Okay, so not just a one-time, but a larger purchase because you're staying top of mind by continuing to build on that emotional connection, continuing to talk to them and staying top of mind. Shorter sales cycle, cut your direct mail budget almost down to nothing, and a 10% increase in revenue over 6 to 9 months. So I want to tie it all together for you guys. Like, why am I talking to you about this, being a representative of White Glove? Because at White Glove, we know that workshops give you the best opportunity at scale to build on that emotional connection. And we know this because we are built by advisors. Dean and Mike Thurman are still running InvestWise Financial here in Bloomfield Hills over 30 years, and they are actually test tracking everything that we teach. All these best practices, we are trying out with Dean and Mike's Thurman's firm and learning the best practices and taking it back to you guys. We are absolutely all about doing all the work. Dean and Mike built their entire business doing workshops. They know what it's like. It's like planning a wedding. It's like planning a birthday party, okay? Event planning kills advisors. That is not your expertise. You shouldn't be spending your time doing it. All the confirmations, the reminders, everything. White Glove does all of that. You don't have to. We also take all the risk. All of our advisors and agents who are doing these workshops pay nothing up front, not one dime. They do not do that. So White Glove takes all the risk. If we plan an event for you, the library gets shut down by a hurricane or a tornado or COVID, you're not out money. We'll reschedule. So we take all the risk and we guarantee actual results. You only pay for people who show up, and we have a new client guarantee. This is a very busy slide. I'm almost done. I don't want to take much more of your time. I want to answer questions, but your job, if you come to work with White Glove, is to just tell us your budget, tell us your location that you want to host your event in, and let us do the rest. Your executive marketing consultant, like Carrie, will advise you on the best location, the best topics, the best time, and the inventory you can expect, the amount of people who show up. And then we have all these programs like our free conversion campaigns, our White Glove University that helps do all the best practices training and education that we're doing right now. This is what we offer you when you become a client with us, and giving you all sorts of value adds like the no-show lead packs, making sure that you're staying in touch with the people that registered, but for whatever reason, we're not able to attend. And again, we do all of this work for you. You don't have to. You show up, you present. Let us do some marketing automation and take care of you. We have amazing, great clients who are seeing success. Kurt Stahl built his business with us. He's been doing seminars since 2016, started out with a 3-to-1 ROI. I could go on and on, but he has added on webinars. He's added on our conversion campaigns. He's added on our Nurture and Engage program. He's up to 23-to-1, and he speaks at a lot of our events and to a lot of people who want to get started with us, but maybe aren't sure, because he says White Glove saved his life when he moved and he had no business. We love this guy too, Brad Gatto. He was always doing seminars. He pivoted to exclusively webinars during COVID because he had to. And unfortunately, he didn't get any results with the first 5 of them. But Brad's not a quitter. He knew he was a great presenter. He knew he's a great advisor. He could help people, but he wasn't getting the results. So he worked with us. He said, guys, what am I doing wrong? We taught him the best practices. We worked with him. We practiced, we prepped. We had him meet with our best coaches. They taught him how to upgrade his presentation, how to change it, how he was speaking. He got amazing results. He's done over 120 webinars with us now. He doesn't even want to go back. By the way, he records it and then we rebroadcast it while he's not even there. He's not even live. It feels like a live event. He gets the leads. He converts about 5%. That may seem a little low, but webinars do have a little bit lower conversion rate. But again, he's not there. He recorded it. He's running this when he's back at the office or out on the golf course or wherever he is. And he's getting these leads coming in. So it's an absolute great way to scale his business. He doesn't want to go back to seminars. He loves it. You can learn exactly his system and how he gets 1.4 million average client size and how he gets 24K per year. Again, not just 1 year, per year, okay? You can learn that from him. He will give you all of his swipe files, emails, scripts, cadences, everything in White Glove University as one of our master coaches. So, and he'd be happy to talk to you as well. So just wanted to share a couple of those. And this is like my final slide, guys, just talking about the old way. You would have to do all of this work yourself, from choosing a topic, finding a venue, designing a presentation, submitting for compliance, doing all the advertising, the confirmation calls, reminders, emails, texts, all that stuff. You had to do all of that, but now White Glove does it for you. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to get in front of people who need the expertise you have to share that will help take care of them and their families and their futures. That's what this is all about. We would love to help you build that emotional connection with your audience, again, at scale. Decide when you want to host a workshop. We'll do it. You'll get the leads. Carrie Oda is your contact. She can help you out, and her info is on the screen. So I'm breathlessly trying to make sure we stay on time. Jim, I am done. Thank you so much for letting me have this time today.
Hey, Laura, thank you very much. You know, what great information. When I was out in the field selling, I was actually doing seminars, and I wish I would have known about White Glove because, you know, on top of everything else, the you know, pearls of wisdom you got, there was a huge upfront expense for me as an independent agent, not you know, without hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank account. So the fact that just up front, you guys take all the risk. I think a loan is something that for those of you listening, watching this webinar, if you're thinking about doing workshops, or if you're doing them now and they aren't as successful as you had hoped, maybe White Glove can help you reach that next level. So that's one thing. I want to talk about a couple of things. You know, with stories, Laura brought up how important stories are. You know, we've all been there. We've all spoken so much that we've talked ourselves out of sales. I know I have. I talk a lot. But I think stories and building that emotional connection is paramount. And one thing right now, if you're talking to clients in our space, and you've got a way to make their money safe, and you've done that with other clients of yours, what a great way, because that's a big reason why our clients are sitting in seminars today, right? Because they've got money in the market, they're looking at their 401ks. I mean, I was literally in the car with my wife 2 weeks ago, and she said, my 401k's gone down $28,000 this week. So in our business, we're able to help people avoid stuff like that. So I just think it's great. And, you know, Laura, you asked about what some people do, you know, in seminars or when they're talking to clients, you know, and I've got some stuff. It's, you know, like asking questions and then being quiet. When I was young and new in the business, being quiet was the hard part of that. I didn't mind asking a question, but I was so insecure. I wanted to keep talking and make sure they knew what I meant instead of just, and folks, it's okay to be, you know, you've got to learn how to be okay with the quiet and sort of get your client to answer when you do ask those questions. Things like noticing pictures. If you're in the house and you want to build that emotional connection, talk about a picture on the wall. Talk about, you know, their pets, like Laura's hunting dog, things like that. That's a great opportunity for you to build that emotional connection, because what that does is it helps disarm your client to make them feel like, okay, this person cares about me. They aren't just here to push a sale down my throat and damn everything else. So it's really important that if you're struggling and looking for things, to look at that. And the reason why I decided to, you know, have Laura and Carrie on is the way they do business. Again, when I was new in the industry doing seminars, I spent a lot of money with very little return for a long time. And if I and they can help any of you avoid that, you know, that's great. So if any of you do have questions, comments, anything else that we can help you with, please, now's the time to add more in the chat box. You know, Carrie, Laura, thank you so much for your partnership here with Western Marketing. You know, it's really great. We appreciate you sharing your wisdom and stuff about White Glove, and really more than just trying to sell White Glove, but talking about these emotional connections. I think that's really, you know, my key is if those of you who are attending could get one pearl of wisdom, it was worth your time, right? That's what I look for. If I could take one thing from this, and I got more than one, you probably saw me looking down, writing notes. But no, it was great. We really appreciate it. So, you know, Laura, Carrie, thank you very much. We'll follow up. And everybody, I really appreciate you again here at Western Marketing. You're what's important to us. Without you, we don't exist, and that's not lost on us. So thank you very much for your time today. Feel free to reach out to us if you need anything. Call me, call your marketer, and we're happy to help you out. We're happy to answer any questions offline about White Glove, and if you need to get in touch with them. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar. Again, Carrie, Laura, thank you very much, and everybody have a great day.
Thanks, Jim.